Hey, hey. So last video, I promise. Um, I also, okay, so still the same day, man. Off-script adventures normally happen like behind each other. It's just like a lot is being processed in these kind of like small moments. They are really 11 minutes every single video. But another thing happened today, which I don't know. So my brother messaged me, and I'm like the one I'm cool with. Funny enough, today I was feeling kind of like family vibe. Like I messaged my dad because he was traveling from Spain. I was like, "Have you landed yet?" And there's like that bit of excitement about him. And my brother basically messages, and he's just like randomly asking like, "What's up? How are things? What are you up to?" And stuff like this. And I use those moments to recap from my perspective. But I have a habit, especially when I'm talking to family, of always asking about them first. And all directly switching with them. Like, it's like, hey, what's up? How's it going, man? Tell me, what have you been up to? What have you been doing? And in a way, that keeps me involved with them, and it allows me to open up and just hear what they're going through, feel some pride. Like last week, a cousin of mine got an MBA online, so it's like these are like the small moments that make me feel just connected to the people that are my family in my life. I don't necessarily hang out with them. It's mainly because I talk about the same stuff. I want to do. It's just talk about this stuff, and most of the time it makes them uncomfortable, awkward. It's just it hasn't created an amicable back and forth between me and them. So, anyways, so he messages me and he's asking me about shits. And I know he's building a company as well uh, in Dubai. So what's the project? What are things? What's happening? What are the things that are on your mind right now? What are you strategizing? And then basically, I realized that he no longer is responding to me. Normally, because when you're talking to somebody, the last thing you want to do is bring back work. But I genuinely believe openly having discussions, no details, right? Mental strategies, mental approaches. I don't want you to tell me what's happening with your work. But if you're thinking in a different way, if you're trying to approach clients differently, if you're, I think that stuff is just interesting because it's our process. I get to know more of you through seeing how you're doing things and thinking of things. I'm pretty sure people are uncomfortable with that. I'm pretty sure. But what happened was when I was talking to him, and then I go like, no, okay, Tariq, you did it again. Like first, you only asked about himself, and then when you started talking about yourself, and then what happened was, so here's what happened. Let me tell you exactly how it went. He goes like, "Hi, bro, how's it going? What's going on? How have you been? Tell me all is good." I go like, "Yeah, what's up? What's been going with you? Update me." And then he basically like gives me a bare minimum update. And then I ask him more questions, and then he basically like responds averagely. And then I go like, which like are there strategies and shit like this? And then afterwards I go like, okay, it's been like 10 minutes, he hasn't responded yet. So before I lose him, because normally we get these small openings where we're trying to communicate. And so I go like, would you rather talk about something else? And he goes like, and then he responds to a question that I actually asked. So me asking him if he'd rather talk about something else, it's just me wanting to talk to him. Like, whatever it is, like, let's talk. It's just me kind of like realizing I probably just pushed too much. Then he responds like, there are strategies a bit of all. What about you? And he switches it to me. Notice like this is us trying to discover how to communicate with each other. And he asks about work and what am I focusing on these days. And I literally just kind of like look at what I respond. Fundraising, restructuring the platform code. When I started onboarding clients, I noticed some things that I needed in the platform, so I started working on them and building it so I can scale. Like, look at, and he responds with, "Is it making you money to sustain and be able to live?" Because he literally didn't understand shit. And it's not him. It's just this is the pattern of conversation that I've become in right now because that's how I kind of like talk to myself. Like, is this what I have to think about? Is that- But anyway, so he goes like, he asks me that generic question, and he goes like, if yes, tamam. And then I respond on a more higher level approach, and not higher as in a more instead of direct what I'm doing, of more of what are the things that I'm thinking about over the next 3 months. So. So when he asks about money, I go like, not for another 3 years. The network growth is, I'm still very being very technical. And then he responds with like, he's been less than zero for the past 3 years. And then at this point, I'm still like ranting, but I go literally like building your own client base. After you get 1,000 of them, 100 will start buying. I'm still talking about my platform. So here continues response. See, like I'm still on my fucking like this is what's happening. This is how I'm dealing with it. This is how I'm thinking about it. And what about this and that, whatever it is. So he responds that he's like it's over the past 3 years his business has been less than zero, and fucking makes sense because if you're starting a business from scratch, and especially like it's not a solid business, it's not a store, it's like a business, a connection, a communication. You have to see what works with it and all that stuff and evolve. Any business, these applies to everything we do, even like our own hobbies or whatever it is. It's just kind of like seeing what it wants from you and what you're able to provide. So after he does that, he goes like, and I respond with 3 years is the baseline to crack. Actually, five depending on what you're working on. And then I'm trying still to communicate, but I can still tell it's not getting to him. So he goes like, anytime it goes slightly, it drops. And then I respond, but it doesn't drop to where it was before, right? Like as in like, and like there are some emotions here because he goes like, it's crazy, it's crazier than me. And then he's basically reflecting on himself. It's like, why am I doing this, right? I do it all the time. So my response is, but it doesn't drop to where it was before. So it drops a bit higher. And that's normally how it goes because anytime you're trying something new, your baseline shifts up. It can't be helped. And I used to do this exercise with people because what happened was I'd like sit with them and I'd be like, "What do you know about the guitar?" And they'd go like, "Nothing." And I go like, "Do you know the guitar? Each string has a name, and all of these names are basically a tone, and I play them. And regardless, even after maybe like 5, 10 years, they'll still probably remember. No, now they know more about the guitar. Their baseline is leveled up. So the minute I said that, I basically I started talking to him more in Arabic and less in English, and just kind of like explaining to him that once you understand each other, you and the company, you'll see because like you're building a relationship with your work. That's your growth. Is how you're establishing yourself around the things that you like and how you're utilizing the things that you like and how you're bringing it out. I think that's work. That's what people actually, I think everything else is just a utility for you to understand how you work, how you do things. How you work is how you function. How, what are, it's not strengths and weaknesses, it's what's the shit that's interesting to you that you would want to give time to. That's basically it. And then at this point, basically, we actually connected, and he goes like, "Yeah," and he responds 100% that because the difference between a company and I make a joke, the difference between a company and a woman is a company is consistent and grateful. I'm sorry, I went through a breakup, but anyways, so at this point, we actually connected, and here I go like, I think once we understand why truly what our work is about and we manage to make it happen, that is when we're able to let people more in our lives. And it's funny enough because like it's like kind of like the hero's journey. And as long as you're doing something beyond what you know, whatever it is that knows you is not gonna understand what you're doing because like change reflects doesn't only reflect on us, it reflects on how other people perceive you. And the people that already know you as something, seeing you change, a lot of them might find resistance in it. But so like that the idea behind just today specifically, like my brother actually messages me and the guy that I'm building the platform that's giving me feedback on the platform and has a shop and everything is just like giving me energy for excitement. And today's the day I got rejected by a guy that I really wanted to just see how it goes. It's one of those like days where you don't necessarily get a rejection. Like last week I was about to get scammed, but the minute you realize that, you realize you're in control, right? I don't know. It's just a whole lot of feelings. And I'm grateful for whoever fucking listened to me, man. Uh, does anybody else feel these things when you're like working on something? It's a video.